results contribute to the authenticity of these bodies.
Sorry. Well, you heard me. I think you know. Okay, we're going to start all over again. This could be probably the most important finding ever in history. If there is proof, if the scientists can demonstrate that these bodies are real, then they could be considered the most important finding ever. The Minister of Culture of Peru has been confused because they've been presenting the body on the left and compared to the body on the right. The body on the left, the right, excuse me, is the one that was presented by the Minister of Culture compared to the one that is on the left. There are so many differences. You can see that one is assembled, the other is absolutely real. One has metal inside the body, and the other doesn't. These metals are toxic if they are in contact with the body. How can they do that? How could they do this 1,000 years ago? You can see all the difference. One has eggs, the other doesn't. You can see the joints of the bones. They are so different one from the other. The one in the left is the one that we presented at the Mexican Congress. This one. Sorry, because
Huesos de carnívoros pequeños, parecidos a los murciélagos, armados de una forma que le daban esta apariencia antropomorfa. Un mamífero carnívoro pequeño, detalles de la presunta piel que rodeaban estos huesos cortados, huesos rotos y cortados. Acá se observan huesos rotos y cortados. Este es el otro elemento, también otro muñeco armado, en los cuales se puede observar que fue armado con huesos, con las falanges de individuos subadultos.
Confiscated that he had made them.
Finally, as a result of our investigations, the research team has come to the conclusion that the desiccated bodies studied are completely authentic from
Okay. Let me explain this. Okay. One of them is an artesanía and the other. No, can we go back, please? Okay, right there, right there, right there, right there. Please, thank you, thank you. Go ahead. Okay, there were analyses that were done live. We have to see the letter from the university. Okay, 12 scientists from the University of Ica signed the letter. Stop there. That letter that we were presenting. 11 scientists signed that letter saying that the bodies are true. If we can hear what the conclusions say, please, can we go back to the university letter after the bodies, please? Sorry, sorry. More, more, back, 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 back. There, okay, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, right there. Sorry, this is important because this is the conclusion of the University of Icar after 4 years investigating these bodies. Please go ahead.
Finally, as a result of our investigations, the research team has come to the conclusion that the desiccated bodies studied are completely authentic from a biological point of view and show no signs of having been manipulated or assembled in any way. Our scientific approach has been rigorous, and the results contribute to the authenticity of these bodies.
This is the University of Ica after 4 years investigating the bodies. Can they be wrong? Can they get confused? We took these bodies live in YouTube in a live stream, and we put them under the X-rays, the fluoroscopy, the tomographies, and different experts analyzed the bodies, and they concluded that they were real. You can check that recording in YouTube. Was done the 18th of September last year. You can check it out, and you can see all the details and the conclusions. We took a notary that in Mexico, the notary is very important to report officially what the doctors were saying, and they said that the bodies were absolutely real. Dr. Salce put his hand there to prove that this was happening live. As I said, the DNA, you can check the DNA right here. Anybody who is watching at home can see where the DNA is and check it out. If you're a scientist and you know how to read ancient DNA, please do it. In January of 2017, Thierry Yamin sent a letter. Thierry Yamin is very important in these investigations. He sent a letter to the Ministry of Culture saying that he had this finding and he wanted them to participate. 2017, here. And then he sent a letter to the president of Peru. And we didn't receive any answer. Then, in July 2017, I went to the Ministry of Peru to ask them to participate in the investigation. They didn't want to do anything. You know? I try and try. We gave a press conference the 11th of July, the day before I went there. I asked them to come to the press conference because we want to present all the evidence. They didn't want to do it. Can you see the resistance? Then in 2023, I went back with my lawyer, Dr. Rafael Berrocal. We went together and he witnessed how we were treated. Even though we announced that we were going, we announced that we wanted to talk to the Minister of Culture, and she didn't want to. Okay, these are the bodies that we have found. Victoria, we made all the DNA samples from Victoria. It's a headless, and that's the reason we decided to take the samples from this body. That's Victoria. We call it that way. The headless figure or creature, Tridactyl creature. Then we have Albert or Alberto. Albert is right now at the University of Ica. It's different. Every single being has a different personality, has a different face, has a different body, exactly like humans. This is Albert. We made all the analysis, tomographies, everything we could. We did the DNA. Can you say this is a fake? Can you see this is the head of a llama? And then we have Josephine. Josephine, it's very important, it's a female, and was the first time that we found two things. One, that has eggs inside, and the second is that has a metal in the breast. This is Josephine. It was a big surprise when we took her to the... We thought that a fetus was inside. We never thought that eggs were inside. All of this can be analyzed. We need to take these bodies to the US, to a big university, big scientists, and they can investigate them. Okay, around the eggs you can see irrigation. This is Luisa, another body that we have. You can see the eggs also, Luisa, and you can see how they are irrigated. That's impossible to fake. And we can see, we have seen embryos inside the eggs. Maria is a human-like body with a huge head, 3 fingers in every hand, and the foot. The fingers are long. We're going to have real experts in hand and neck and head after in this presentation, and they will tell you about this. This is so important. This changes history. This is Santiago, one of the bodies that we're going to present live from Lima today. You can see that it's very close like Maria. It's a 3-finger body with a large head, different eyes. We didn't touch this body. We didn't do anything to this body. It was delivered to us. Michael and Serena were there. They can tell you about this. And you will see later on live x-rays, live tomographies. And you will hear the experts talking about this. This changes everything. Can you imagine if they were living with the old humans 1,000 or 2,000 years ago? Did we receive knowledge from them? Or is this a new species? But there is nothing before and nothing after. It's like they appear and disappear suddenly. That's very difficult in nature. In nature you have developments. You will have something before, probably not after if they were extinguished, but before, yes, you have to see slowly this process. Santiago is like a little kid. You will see the fingerprints. The fingerprints are different from humans. That is impossible to fake. You can see the x-rays here. It's like the head of a little boy, where there is separation between the different plates of the head. By the way, all this material is going to be available to anyone who wants to see it. We don't have anything to hide. If I were faking this, I wouldn't put it available to everyone. I would try to hide it here and there. No, it's open to everyone. Would you consider I would take the bodies to the Mexican Congress, putting in danger 50 years of career to present fake bodies? Think about that. Because what they've done to me is unacceptable. and I mean the Ministry of Culture, and I mean the media around the world. I'm surprised the media did not check the source of the Ministry of Culture. They would have realized that it was not the same body. I'm not having. Okay, this is Sebastian. This is another body that we're going to present today. It has different plates, one in the neck. It has some letters there. We have not been able to identify those letters. I think it's very important. This is very new. This was delivered to us, what, 2 months ago. Yes, we have not done DNA. Yes, we have not done the proper analysis, the carbon-14. We will. But we wanted to present this to the media and to the world. You can see the eyelashes in the eyes. They are so similar to us. Could they be hybrids? Could they have been created by somebody else? Could humans do that 1,000 years ago? 2,000 years ago? I don't think so. You can see the eyelashes there very clearly, all the details. That's the plate in the back. And you can see letters there. The plate was completely covered with diatomea. Diatomea is where they were found, in a mine of diatomea. Diatomea is a phytoplankton plant or from the sea. It's fossilized and is used to desiccate. These bodies are desiccated, completely desiccated. They don't have any liquid or oil in their bodies. This is the plate. What is doing there? Why? So many questions. It's fascinating. Sorry, it's fascinating. Instead of opposing this, scientists should be, excited about this. This is something we have been looking for humanity for so many years. And it's in the hands of civil society. It's not in the hands of government to hide. It's open. Let's be happy about this. Okay, these are the bodies that have been found and presented until now. But there is so much more. Believe me, this is not the last press conference. This is not the last time that we are going to be presenting bodies. It's going to be more and more and more. Let's see how the world reacts to this. As I said, I've been humiliated, I've been discredited, I've been defamed, and my lawyer is going to speak about that. Okay. I hope you are enjoying this because this is pure history. You are part of history. There should be here thousands of media. Thousands. This is so important. I have put everything in risk because this cannot be hid. We found this in 2017. I made different programs. And every time we found so many obstacles. That's why I had to take them to the Congress of Mexico, because David Grosh was talking about bodies remaining from the craft, from the crashes, and the government didn't want to present them. I thought was the time to present them to the public. Sorry, I don't want to extend. There are more things to be said. We're going to have a live stream from the University of Ica, and we will have a live stream from a laboratory in Lima, and you will learn so much more about this. I want to introduce Dr. Rafael Berrocal. He's a top lawyer in Peru. He's going to talk about the legal gaps under the Constitution, the framework of the Constitution. He's a constitutionalist in Peru. He's a top man regarding laws. And he's going to talk now about these legal gaps on the anomalous bodies in the Constitution, not just of Peru, but around the world. Thank you very much.
So a large part of this will be in Spanish, so if you do have your headphones now, it would be a great time to pop them in. If you don't, does anybody need the QR code so that you can log in to hear the translation? Or is everybody good? Everybody's good.
En primer lugar, buenos días a todos los hombres y mujeres del mundo, toda vez que estamos en línea, en comunicación con los medios de comunicación más importantes en este recinto. Veo con tanta pasión, con tanta emoción y con firmeza a Jaime hablar sobre los cuerpos, las criaturas tridáctilas encontrados, hallados en el Perú, en mi país, en el cual me siento orgulloso, fenomenalmente agradecidos al cielo, a la tierra, al mar, a que realmente existen todavía algo por descubrir en nuestro planeta Tierra. Voy a tocar un tema fundamental de criterio jurídico. Vacíos jurídicos desde el marco constitucional. Pero voy a partir, no está por demás, recordar un poco nuestros derechos constitucionales que enmarcan nuestras leyes en todo el mundo. Básicamente voy a partiendo del derecho imperativo universal del hombre en el mundo, es implacable e indiscutible, plasmado en nuestras constituciones de los países del mundo, siendo así el derecho a la vida, el derecho a la libertad, el derecho a no estar sometidos ni a esclavitud, como tampoco a torturas. Es un derecho importantísimo a la libertad y otros aspectos y a la opinión pública. Por ende, la expresión, a la educación, al trabajo, entre otros, estos derechos corresponden a todas las personas sin discriminación alguna en el universo. Sin embargo, aún no está contemplada la regulación de las normativas sobre el derecho a la libertad del conocimiento en diversas materias, así como respaldar las investigaciones científicas sobre los cuerpos anómalos no identificados, como el de las criaturas tridáctilas, para su análisis y investigación con el fin de llegar a la verdad sobre su existencia. Esto, pongo entre comillas, esto limita y mutila un derecho fundamental, el de la libertad a la educación y el acceso al conocimiento. Por ello, invocamos a los gobiernos del mundo a implementar reformas constitucionales que contemplan en las leyes el desarrollo de la ciencia y la oficialización de la divulgación de información de interés de la sociedad desconocidos hasta la fecha. Pues la humanidad tiene el derecho de conocer la existencia de seres no humanos desde antes, durante y después de nuestra existencia. ¿O no tenemos el derecho? Tenemos el derecho fundamental de conocer lo que dijo y lo que es y lo que será la ciencia en el mundo. Es importante precisar
I cannot hear. His microphone is off. The booth apologizes. I cannot hear him. Jaime Maussan, the investigator.
En este caso, el periodista
In this
Jaime
case, the
Maussan
journalist Jaime Maussan
y los profesionales juntos
and
de
professionals
primer
together
nivel, cada uno de
of
ellos,
first level, each
impulsan
of
estas
them
investigaciones
foster
sobre los
this
cuerpos
research
anómalos no identificados para
of
determinar si
non-identified
pertenecen
anomalous
a este mundo o a seres
that came
de
to this
otros
world
espacios.
or creatures from other
Lamentablemente,
spaces, and
estos
unfortunately,
investigadores no han
these
contado con el
researchers have
respaldo del
not
Estado
been able
peruano,
to have the
sino que han
support of
sido
the state,
objeto de infamias,
and they have been
insultos y
object
descréditos
to
que atentan
be
contra la dignidad
defamated,
humana,
that attempt
calificándolos de
against
mentirosos,
their
entre
professionalism
otros adjetivos
and in
especialmente
other
contra los investigadores y
arenas
contra las
and
investigaciones de
against
los licenciados, los científicos, principalmente
scientists,
Jaime Maussan.
researchers.
Estas afirmaciones y estas acciones se han
These
producido a
affirmations and rights
través de declaraciones emitidas por
are
funcionarios del
declarations
Ministerio de
issued by
Cultura
public
y
officials
principalmente del Ministerio de
mainly
Cultura desde el año 2018.
since
Si bien es cierto, esto inicia
2018,
el año 2017, pero en 2018
and
se desencadena
in
con la declaración
2018
del viceministro
there
de
was a
Cultura de ese
declaration
entonces, incluida a la fecha,
included to date
con la participación y intervención
with
de
the
los funcionarios
participation
encabezada con la
and intervention
participación de la ministra de Cultura actual,
of the
Lourdes Guevara.
Ministry of Culture at
Estas
present,
afirmaciones de
and
los
this
representantes del Estado
information
permitieron que se
and these
difundieran a nivel
representations
mundial, causando un gran
have
daño moral,
caused
psicológico,
important
económico a
environmental
la dignidad del licenciado Jaime
damage.
Maussan. Dichas afirmaciones que fueron
And
realizadas
these
sin llevar a
affirmations
cabo
that were carried out
investigaciones serias y
are
reales
serious
sobre los
investigations and real
cuerpos,
investigations
están bajo custodia de la
and
Universidad
under the
Lica
custody
para su estudio científico.
to be studied for
importante
scientific reasons. And it's
Destacar
also
que
very
el Ministerio de
important
Cultura no realizó análisis de
that
estos
all
cuerpos,
these was
sino
done
de objetos
by the
artesanales
analysis
declarados por sus autores y
declared
no
by their
precisamente de
authors
los cuerpos objeto de
of
investigación
the
científica.
bodies object to the
Por
research.
todo lo mencionado
And for all of
anteriormente,
the above,
se formalizó un proceso
we
judicial
formalized a
iniciando
judicial
un proceso
process
con actos preliminares
with
extrajudiciales
preliminary
para participar
acts
a una
in order to
conciliación con
participate
los responsables del Estado
in
que
a
incurrieron en estos graves
reconciliation
hechos y
with
afirmaciones,
the
por supuesto, con el fin
government
de abordar solución
in
sobre
order
la
to find
reivindicación de
solutions
una demanda indemnizatoria a
of
favor del
an
recurrente
indemnization
por
lawsuit
la suma de 300 millones de dólares.
for 300
Por
million
supuesto, el honor
pesos, and I
en
have the
cualquier parte del
honor
mundo no tiene precio, no tiene
to
techo,
tell you
no
that
tiene
this
escala.
is priceless. This has no price
Para esta
that can be assigned to
atención
it, and for this
y para su atención de los fueros
and for the
judiciales y de las
attention
jurisdicciones legales
of the judges and
hacerse
legal
justicia.
jurisdictions,
Esta indemnización
this
se destinará a
indemnization
la construcción del museo
has to
científico
do with the
y moderno
construction
de Palpa Nazca en la
of
región de Ica a beneficio de
the
todos los peruanos y de
Palpanasta
toda la
region,
humanidad. Eso lo ha dispuesto
and
el
that
recurrente de esta demanda, Jaime
has
Maussan Flota.
been
A los hombres y
mentioned.
mujeres del mundo,
To men and women of the
debo
world,
añadir y debo pedirles
I
desde
have
este
to add
podio,
and I have to
nunca
ask
deben
you
permitir que vulneren el derecho
to
fundamental en
please
cualquier parte del
don't
mundo.
eliminate
Para eso
the
existen
right,
nuestras leyes,
and that's
a
why
las cuales
laws
debemos
do
acudir y
exist,
por
that
supuesto
we
es
have
necesario
to
perfeccionarlas para
perfect
abordar
the
casos complejos y
rights
relevantes
and the
así
laws,
como este caso, los cuerpos anómalos
like in this
no
case,
identificados que deben
to
ser
rule
tratados
over
con dirección
anomalous
de investigación
bodies,
científica
and
con el
there
fin
is
de declararlos
scientific
luego como
uh,
patrimonio de la humanidad
then
en el
human
beneficio de la
kindness
sociedad en su conjunto, como debería de ser, porque
as
todos
it should
tenemos
be,
el derecho imperativo
and this is
de
an
no
imperative
limitarnos a
right,
encontrar nuestros
and there
conocimientos
is the
por
importance of the
nuestros
knowledge
descendientes, para nuestros
in order,
descendientes y para
so
todos
for our
el mundo.
descendants.
Muchísimas gracias por su fina atención.
Thank you so much for your time and your attention.
Thank you so much, Rafael.
Efectivamente, se ha presentado una demanda por $300 millones al gobierno del Perú. Creo que esta es la primera ocasión en el mundo, en la historia, que la sociedad civil demanda a un gobierno por distorsionar o ocultar la información. Sin embargo, hacemos un llamado al gobierno del Perú para poder
we are
conciliar.
calling the Peruvian government,
Nosotros lo que deseamos es,
and that's
en
what we
primer lugar,
wish. What we
continuar la
wish
investigación,
is
no
to
solamente de los
continue
cuerpos
with our
presentados,
research,
sino de todos aquellos
but
que
we
se irán
also,
presentando. Hay muchos
those
cuerpos más.
that are here.
El
There's
hallazgo
many
es
more
masivo. Ya lo escucharon
bodies
ustedes,
here,
masivo.
and
Esto no
this
se
is
va a
massive,
poder ocultar.
and we're not going
Además
to
de
be
investigarlos,
able
queremos
to
preservarlos.
hide the truth.
Estos
We're not
cuerpos,
going to be able to
desde el día
hide
que fueron
them. All these
extraídos del lugar
bodies,
donde se
they are being
encontraban en las minas de
extracted,
Chacomea, se están
in,
degradando.
they have been
Pronto, si no se hace nada,
dried
se
or
convertirán en polvo,
desiccated because
serán
of
rompiendo, serán deshaciendo
the,
y
the,
finalmente se
the
convertirán en polvo. Son
atomies
cuerpos que tienen 1000 o
and
2000
the
años de
autonomous earth,
antigüedad. Considérenlo ustedes.
and
Y en
these
tercer
are
lugar,
bodies that we have to
exhibirlos,
research.
exhibirlos a todo el mundo.
We have to
En
show them
beneficio
throughout
de
the
los
world.
habitantes de Nazca y de Palpa,
We have
que es a los que realmente
to
se les debe atribuir este beneficio.
should attribute this
Aquí nosotros
benefit.
lo que queremos realmente es
This
poder
is what we have
propiciar
here,
un cambio de la historia.
to be able to make a change in
No tenemos
history.
ninguna otra intención y que
We
quede
don't
muy
want
claro.
and have no other
Yo
intention.
amo profundamente al Perú.
I
Yo
love
estoy en
Peru
contra del
deeply.
gobierno del Perú. Yo
I
estoy a
love the
favor de la
Peruvian
verdad.
government
Una verdad tan importante.
and such an
Espero que se
important
den
truth,
cuenta lo grave que es esta distorsión de los
and
hechos.
how
Se
serious is
encuentran
this
seres
distortion,
extraños, posiblemente una nueva especie,
because this
posiblemente
is a new species.
extraterrestres, ¿por qué no?
Maybe they could be aliens. Why not?
Desde el primer día en
And
que
from day number
Gaia.com, y
one,
quiero agradecer profundamente
I
y
want to thank
públicamente
deeply
a
and
Gaia.com,
publicly
que fue la empresa que creyó en esto.
the company that
Gracias
believed
a
in
ellos y
us,
solo a ellos
Gaia,
se
and
pudo
only
realizar
them,
la primera parte
and
de esta
thanks to
investigación que
them,
fue definitiva.
we were able to do the
Desde el primer
first
día
part
que
of the
Gaia.com
research.
exhibió estos hallazgos,
And they
los
received these
antropólogos y
findings,
arqueólogos de Perú
and all
se
people in
rebelaron en
Peru,
contra de esto. Al día siguiente estaban escribiendo una
the
carta
next
que
day,
yo
they
había
were
hecho un
writing a
fraude, que
letter
yo le había cortado los dedos
that
al
I had
pulgar
cut
y
the
el meñique,
fingers
había puesto sobre
and I
los
had
dedos
overposed
más grandes. Eso es imposible.
and other fingers to make these fingers larger, and this is
Entonces,
not true.
pues que quede muy claro y lo dije en español,
So it has to
perdonen,
be clear, and I said it
porque
in
debo de
Spanish.
ser muy puntual en
We
lo que
have
estoy
to be
diciéndoles.
very accurate
El inglés es
in
mi
what's
segunda
being
lengua,
said,
quiero ser muy claro
and I
con
want to
esto
be
que es
very
tan
accurate
relevante. I'm so sorry I spoke in
because
Spanish,
this is so
but I had to
relevant.
do it because this was very important for me to say. Okay, now we go to Mexico City. Where is Dr. Salce? Who is Dr. Salce? Dr. Salce, he's a doctor, a physician that was formed by the Navy in Mexico. He became the forensic expert of the Navy of Mexico. He became a former director of 42 hospitals or 46 hospitals of the Navy in Mexico. It's not just anybody. We are talking about one of the big experts of Mexico. And he had the courage to participate in this investigation from the very beginning. He has been punished because of that. I don't want to speak deeply. He has to, but he has been punished. Okay? Let's go then to Mexico City. Are you ready? ¿Están listos en México para iniciar la transmisión, por favor? Sí, adelante.
Please, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. It is an honor to be in this research since the beginning in 2017 and to have the privilege to knowing and studying these Tridactyl bodies. I will give my testimony in Spanish for being a
Louder.
Mexican scientist.
Soy un científico
Muy buenos días.
mexicano.
En esta exposición los llevaré cuales se encuentran perfectamente conservados de manera natural por el proceso de desecación a base de polvo de diatomeo. Nuestro primer espécimen, denominado Josefina, es un cuerpo tridáctilo de características humanoides, donde puede verse estructuras como son cráneo, tórax, abdomen y extremidades tridáctilas. Lo más relevante de este cuerpo de 60 centímetros de altura es que su cráneo es alargado y se encuentra unido al cuello de manera central a través del agujero magno de características cúbicas, lo cual lo hace completamente diferente a cualquier otro. En el pecho podemos observar un implante donde se identifican metales como el cadmio, el oro, el cobre y la plata de pureza superior al 95%. Esta aleación se encuentra adosada a la piel de manera biofuncional sin producir reacción o rechazo en ella. En el abdomen se identifican 3 huevos de diferentes tamaños en distinta etapa de gestación. Esto nos permite observar que en su estructura hay una completa integridad de elementos de unión y armonía, lo cual lo hace completamente original. Las articulaciones son armónicas y funcionales. Los extremos óseos
to retract as turtles. The next
En esta
specimen
imagen
is
podemos
named
ver el
Tridactyl,
movimiento de mi
is
mano
named
para
Clara. We
demostrar
can
que
see my
esta
hand moving to
fluoroscopía
show
es un
that this
procedimiento que
fluoroscopy
permite ver
is a
en tiempo
procedure
real
that allows
las
to see
estructuras
in
óseas.
real
Aquí
time
podemos identificar
the
correctamente
bone
y
structures,
claramente
and we can
que no hay
identify
ningún
clearly that
elemento
there's
de armado
no
artificial.
element
De
of
igual manera,
artificial
podemos
assembly.
observar
We can
en el
also see
brazo que hay un
in the
tabique interóseo,
hand, in the
el cual es de gran
arm,
relevancia porque puede hablar
the
de la
bone. It's very
evolución
relevant.
o de
It's
la
something that we can
involución
see
de la
for
separación de los
evolution or
huesos del
involution of the
antebrazo.
separation of the
También tuvimos
bones
como
within the
piezas
hands. We also
sueltas
had
manos de
different
45
separate
centímetros o más.
pieces,
Estas manos
hands
son
of 50
impactantes e
centimeters or
impresionantes,
more.
ya
These
que
hands are
permiten
impressive and amazing
determinar la
because they
existencia
also
de
have
6
and show the
falanges,
existence of 6
haciéndolas
phalanges,
demasiado largas
that it is
y
making it
confirman el
so
movimiento
long,
de
and they're confirming movement of
Algunas de estas
grasping
manos
things.
tienen algunos
Some of these hands have some metallic implants.
de lo que se describió hace rato con cadmio.
That is something that was
Nuestro siguiente espécimen
explained
es María.
previously, and our next specimen was Maria. Is Maria.
Es el más
This
similar
body is
a las características
impacting,
humanas. Sin embargo, los
and
miembros
it's
son
similar
más
to
gruesos,
human
haciéndolo más
features.
similar
It
a
has
la familia
bones,
de los
and it's
primates.
similar
Sin
to
embargo,
primate
tiene unas
family.
características muy similares al humano,
It has
pero se
some
pasa la
characteristics that are
En su
similar
cráneo tiene una
to
capacidad del 30%
the
mayor,
chimpanzee. It has
contenido de más masa encefálica. Además,
more
sus
head
órbitas oculares son de mayor tamaño, no
bone,
tiene
and
auriculares y en su cuerpo no
it doesn't have
identificaron
ears, and its
glándulas mamarias.
body we did
En el
not
resto del cuerpo
find
podemos identificar la característica
breasts,
principal de este
and we can
espécimen,
also
que es la tridactilia. Esta
find
tridactilia es de cuatro falanges, más el
tridactyl,
metacarpo
the
o un
6 phalanges,
metatarso
and a
distinguiendo las circunstancias.
metatars,
En el pie
and also
podemos
in the
observar el
foot we
arco
can
del pie
see
con
the
la
arc of
terminación
the
en
foot,
garra de las
where the
manos. Donde nos
terminations
encontramos
of the
huellas
fingers
digitales de
we can
material
find
lineal, lo cual las
digital
hace únicas en la naturaleza.
prints that are
Nuestro siguiente
unique
cuerpo
for them
tridáctilo
in
es
nature.
el que
We can see
denominamos
also the
Santiago,
next
el cual
body
también
that
es
is called
tridáctilo,
Santiago,
teniendo
which
3
is
falanges en el dedo.
also
En
has
su
3
cráneo
phalanges in its
encontramos
body.
que
In
todavía
its
tiene
skull,
una
we can
separación
find that it
de
also
no
has a
fusión
separation
de los huesos del cráneo,
of the
pero
bones of
resalta
the
la
skull, but
dentición
we can
mixta,
see
donde se ven
also
dientes temporales y
the
dientes
teeth,
permanentes,
temporary teeth and
denominando
permanent
un
teeth
individuo joven
of
infantil.
a
El
young
siguiente
or
cuerpo es el
child
denominado Sebastián. Este cuerpo
body.
también
We
tiene
also have
características
Sebastian,
similares a
that is
María
also
y a Santiago,
a
pero de
body
una
similar to
capacidad
Maria and Santiago,
intermedia en
but
tamaño. De este
uh,
es importante resaltar la
it's
presencia
not
de
that
las
long.
placas
In this
posteriores
body, we
y
can see
de las clavículas, lo que impide que la cabeza
the
tenga un
bones.
proceso de
What
desprendimiento por más
doesn't
tamaño y
allow
cuerpo en la tomografía tomográfica.
the body to
Todas las
detach
unidades
from
se enderezan
the head, to
hacia
detach from the
adelante.
body. So
Al igual
it's
que
something that we can
Santiago,
see,
vemos que
and it's
Sebastián tiene
similar
un
as
cráneo
Santiago.
flexionado
Sebastian
y con
is
dentición mixta.
seated,
Por otra parte,
and it
tenemos
is
piezas
mixed. On the
sueltas,
other
cráneo
side,
y
we
manos
have
que merecen
the
ser
skull
estudiados
and
con mayor
hands
profundidad. En estos
that
cráneos
we can
logramos
see
identificar algunas
deeply,
placas,
and we can
como por
identify
ejemplo la que
some
aparece aquí
plates, metal
marcada
plates,
en este momento, en donde se observan
plates that we
algunos
can see
detalles
right now
decorativos o de inscripción.
that is
Todo esto
something
queda
like
sustentado mediante la
for
solicitud reiterada en pruebas
decoration. So
documentales al gobierno
something
del
that we
Perú
should
para que se
consider
reconozcan y se estudien estos cuerpos tridáctilos. El
is
gobierno del
to
Perú ha
recognize and
solicitado a
study
través de
these
su ministerio público
tridactyl
en su
bodies
actividad
and
de
the
biología
public
molecular
ministry of
que se tratan de
the
secuencias
Republic of Peru
nucleótidas de
see
3 ADNs.
that
Aquí
they have
reconoce
3
la
DNAs, and they can
organicidad y biología
recognize
de estos
the
polígonos de
biology of
ADN.
these
Además,
3,
señalan que para ellos
and they are
es
also
imposible
mentioning that it
pronunciarse
is
al
not
respecto,
possible
puesto que
to
es un
say
ADN
anything about
no
this because
humano.
it's an
Esto es relevante
DNA that it
porque
is
ellos
not
están
human.
afirmando
This
que
is
estamos
relevant
hablando
because
de un
they're
ADN
accepting that
completamente
we're
distinto
speaking
al de
about a
los humanos.
completely
De la
different
misma forma, nos recomiendan hacer
person.
estudios
They are
con
also
especialistas de otros
recognizing to
organismos
check this with
vivos,
specialists about
reconociendo
other
y
types
dando
of
resultados
specimens or organisms,
que estamos hablando de
recognizing
organismos
that they are
que en su
different. We're
momento
speaking
tuvieron
about
vida y que no
organisms that
son
at a certain
juguetes
moment
o artesanías
are
fabricadas.
considered something that is
Por lo
not
tanto,
handcrafted
mis
or dolls.
conclusiones son, y las ratifico,
So My conclusions and something that I would like to say that first of all, we can find bodies that are 100% real, organic, functional, with a skull structure, harmonic, functional, and that some were adults in their reproductive stage. As a second conclusion, we can see the possibility of recognizing that we are analyzing species that are not described in the taxonomic tree of specimens, that we should study the ascendants or descendants or inheritance. Third, if it's not possible to mention the relationship of the species, then we have the opportunity to accept and recognize that we are before bodies of species that do not correspond to strictly in what exists in science currently. This is something that we should consider to to analyze these bodies before they degrade so that we can have more knowledge, more information to what we're seeing and to be able to classify them as what they are. Thank you so much for your time and your attention.
Okay. Now, I think we can go to Peru, to the University of Ica. The University of Ica is the most important in the area where these bodies were found. That's why they are there. They have been there since 2019. They've been investigating these bodies for 4 years. Can you think, just for a second, that 11 scientists would sign a letter saying that these bodies are real after 4 years of investigations if they were not? Okay, let's go to Fernando Correa, a reporter who has been participating in this investigation from the very beginning with me. We went together to Peru in 2017. Okay, Fernando, go ahead.
Thank you, Jaime. How are you today? I'm Fernando Correa Domingos. I'm here live and directly from the University San Luis Gonzaga in the city of Ica, Peru, where we received these bodies and they have been investigated since August of 2019. We will go directly with Dr. Roger Zuniga, who has been the main researcher, coordinator of investigators, and we will speak about the tridactyl body named Maria, this being. Go ahead, Dr. Zuniga. What are we seeing here? We are seeing a body, desiccated body named Maria. This was delivered 1st of August of 2019. Since that date, we started investigating and we found the surprise that it is a body that has no comparison to any human being or sapien body. It's a different body, exceptional, that is no comparison to any species that it is existing right now. Definitely that it is three dactyl, that it has three hands in, three fingers in hands and feet. It's one of the features that are impressive, and also the head that is long. What else? We can see in the description also the body, the head, fundamentally, and the extremities in the upper body. We can see the head that is a different head from the human being. It is a long head with the forehead completely uh, sent like to the back of the part. It also has different things that are similar to reptiles. It is scaled and it doesn't have a hair. It has never had hair because there's no part that we can see that it had hair. There's also the side that it doesn't have an ear. It has the hole so that he can most certainly hear when she was alive. And or it was alive. Then we have the eyeball, or the eye, where the eye should be, that is very big, and it had maybe eyes that came out of the body, and the eye socket is too big. And here we can also see, and it's very important, that it has its lower teeth over the upper teeth. It's similar as other non-human beings like anthropoids. Also, we have in the upper body extremities, we have three fingers, and these fingers are completely original, authentic, because it has never been manipulated. They have no assembly or any type of glue, right? We have these fingers, three fingers with four phalanges in each finger, and in the arm there's a separation that is not human from the radius and cubitus, that we can also see the radius that is completely different. Here we can see the finger. This finger is about to fall, and we can see a tendon. We can see the end of the fingers, of the phalanges also here. This is about 90 degrees, and this allows us to know that this being could walk, and he did not put the entire foot on the floor, but only the fingers. And also we can see the fingerprints also, and at the end we will see that it is completely different from the human. The fingerprint is horizontal, and it is not like ours, that is like circles. So we have the body that no one has assembled, modified, falsified. Is completely natural, and the world should know that we're showing something that is real, so that the people know that it's not only us who live. We are not alone. We are accompanied by beings that are different from us. According to the carbon 14, it is from 1,700 before Christ, after Christ, AC, and like 1,000 years old, and it is something that we should see. Let's get back. Also, let's call Dr. Edgar Fernandez, that also participated, please, so that we can hear his explanations. And the first thing that we will ask, thanks, Dr. Edgar. I'm a radiologist, and I would like to start an anatomist. I would like to start with the hands, and I would like to ask you, through the studies that you have been perform, performing to this body, have you found something that it has been manipulated? Well, we saw things that are similar to human beings and different to human beings. For example, the hands, the three fingers, and there's this separation of the radius and cubitus. And on the tibia, there's also something so particular. The backbone is completely different. You have these samples. Can you please help us if we can see detail? Something common from the people that do not support this type of research tell that this was modified, right? But to make sure, I made a test with this human foot, and what we can see that is completely different are the joints. As you can see, the different steps, and we can see the manipulation. When there's a radiography of hands and foot, we can see that maybe a normal person cannot see this, but a radiologist can realize that this is completely different. This also happens with the hand. We can see the first, we took out the first and last finger, and we can see the differences. That here, we can see that here there's a manipulation. With the extraction of fingers, with the different considerations, we can see that there has been a modification. Something that we should know also, if you can show us or describe, doctor, here something that we have is completely different. Here, there's a head study to show as scientific evidence. This is the head of Maria. It has something human and something different for this cephalometric or head study. There's diameters, something that is used as craniometric points to measure the head, and it is something, it's a diameter that is not considered human. And this is something that is considered to be able to see the measures, normal measures. And the skull and the face, as we can see, is completely different than the human. In the human, the normal volume of skull and face is 1. This is a human, 1 of 1. And in Maria, we can see the difference of the skull is 1,995 cubic centimeters. And we can see that there's an increase of a 30% of head mass, and it is something that this specimen has, and it can be bigger, right? We can see that it is bigger. The next slide says that it has also an alteration according to the face. The maxillary is completely in front of what we call a protrusion to the maxillar face, and the angle is the normal one is 82, right? And the one of Maria is 108. What we can see, it is that it's displaced to the front, and it is something that is completely different. We also find that it was completely different. It has prognatism, and it has 2 conditions. These 2 conditions are not that common in human beings, and this is something that is telling us that it is not a human being. Also, something important, it is the socket, the eye socket, that normally this socket should be smaller, and it is something that we can see that the orbit is on a certain way out of the body. This is the face of Maria. It has an eye protrusion. And aside from all of the technical definition, scientific definition, this is something that we showed you. And to continue with the dynamic of this presentation, let's call Dr. Daniel, that is one of the specialists that has been closer to Maria, this specimen, so that he can explain all of the details. If you can please stand here. What is your specialty? I'm professor of the medicine department, and I'm retired.
This is Grace, and before we start, I want to thank so much for allowing me to be here on December 4th of 2019, around 2015. They brought to my diagnosis center a specimen together with others for radiographic to take radiographies, and this body or specimen characterized called as Maria has three basic segments: the skull, the thoracic abdominal, and the extremities. And you can see in the upper part of the skull is divided in two core parts: the cranial area and the base of the cranium. And in the skull, you can see the internal and the external part, separating a radiological image of the spine medulla. Then we can have the radiotransparent part in the base of the cranium, in the medium and the front and the back floor. You can see the Turkish seat that has the hypophysis. So this specimen had internal secretion. The hypophysis regulates all the endocrinological system of a human being. In the face, we have the upper maxilla with the teeth, and in the bottom maxilla, we have the neck, and the cervical neck cannot be seen very well because of the position. In the thorax, we can see the backbone, and in the upper part, we can see the upper extremities and the inferior extremities that have been intertwined, and calling the attention of the upper extremities and the hands that have only 3 fingers, and on the backbone we can see between D7 and D8 the intervertebral spaces, they diminish, and with the dactylar would indicate that this backbone has had acquired alterations. Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel Mendoza. We continue with this dynamic because we have a couple more minutes here in Nika, and we're going to call Dr. Zuniga so he can be the one that will give us a very accurate summary of the results of the specimen regarding the DNA results. Tell us, please. What I wanted is to add that all the DNA results have been done by university, but the DNA is a test that has been done not in the university, and the results have biotechnological information. And I would like to add, this is where everybody can see the results, and I'm going to show you the specimen, Maria, and here you can see the results. There's 4 genomes. First of all, the mommy, if we did a DNA test, it has 1,800 years ago and 1,700 years ago. It has 4 different genomes, 30% DNA is human, 30% of a combination of chimpanzee with a bonobo, and a 30% of an unknown DNA. This is natural because we have seen in the right-hand side where we have a hybridization of the genome, but done in the lab, where we've put the genome of human beings in combination with chimpanzees, but that's been done in the lab. It's not reproducible. So in this occasion, as member of the research team of these bodies, we are inviting scientists to add to our research, to do another research of DNA. Therefore, we could continue adding to science. And to conclude, we're going to go quickly to the images of the dactylar fingerprints. And Dr. Zuniga, we are about to send the signal to the city of Lima, the capital of Peru, but an important difference here, doctor, is the dactylar, the fingerprints. Here we have the feet, and there you can see that we visibly have the lines that are horizontal. They are not in spirals as human beings. In these fingerprints, here we can see it more clearly. These are fingerprints, and we can clearly see that there is no similarities to humans, and that is what we wanted to inform you, that in other occasions we had a larger base, but here we can see the fingerprints, for example, with gorilla, you have koalas and mans. And these are very similar, they're spiral, but in Maria and the other bodies have no similarities on their fingerprints with these anthropoids. Thank you so much, Dr. Roger Zuniga. With our precedents, you saw it. And this, we're going to give you the signal back. Fernando Correa Martinez, investigator journalist, will continue in Lima, Peru. Please stay. There's more to show you. And we're going to verify if the link is available. And we are still here from one moment to the next. We are going to go with our research colleague, George Mantilla. And I'd like to take advantage to congratulate scientists, doctors, and the doctors of ICA at the Luis Gonzalez Hospital. Thank you. We're transmitting from the city of Lima. And they have given us their facilities to take the tomography so the body can look at these tridactyl bodies, if you can move them so the audience can see. This is called Sebastian, and this is called Santiago. We're estimating that Santiago is younger. This is Sebastian. But the knowledge of science, why have they been mutilated? The scientists have always said that these bodies, and we have an expert, we have a forensic expert, and we have a diagnosis, and they are revealing. So we have Dr. David Wills and Dr. Ricardo Nicama, one of the most important specialists and physicians. How are you? And these conditions are a little bit tight in the place. Good afternoon. What is the diagnosis that you can obtain by seeing this body? What we can observe is where the tomography, in this tomography, is the eye socket is larger than the inside socket in both sockets. You can see the area of the zone is a nose that has very small openings. When you see the bone structure, that it has all the constitution of a skull that is very similar to a human skull. Here you can see the mandibula. What calls our attention are the metal plates. We're going to zoom towards the neck. This is similar to some implants that we have been able to find. These are implants over the body that we have found in other creatures. It had bone growth around it. In Cusco. So Sebastian, what it has is two impacts in its clavicular. So when we do this reconstruction, we can see two other metallic structures in the neck, in both collarbones. This is impressive. This definitely is something different. This is what we can underscore at the level of the eye sockets, as well as around the collarbones. Here we see the head and the neck. The fact that there are 3 fingers is something that has been deviated. So these, after 3 years of residency, what I can tell you is the manipulation that could happen in these fingers. These fingers are complete. They have not been manipulated. There's no sign that they have been manipulated. There's no question that these are tridactylous bodies. Here you can see the hands and the feet of Santiago, because we can see different age, that Santiago and the other body have different ages. So one would be between 7 and 9. So we have a perspective of our human paradigm, but there's no signs of having been any fingers being removed. These images don't show any signs of having removed the fingers. The whole articulation is coherent with 3 fingers. So this is a correlation, an interbone correlation, and there's no evidence of any bones to have been removed, not even post-mortem. This is totally discarded. If they talk this way, it means that they have no idea of human anatomy, pre-mortem or post-mortem. Simply saying this is a mutilated body and this is another fraud is not true. We are experts in plastic surgery, and I'm the president of the Legal Medicine Peru, and they belong to the bodies that we're seeing. And now please show us, Sebastian, this part, because we thought initially that the neck had a lesion because of the metal on the neck to put it together, the head with the body, but there's no evidence showing us that there was any problem there. But remember also that the tissue holds the body, so when it's dry, this that you see in the bodies loses the humidity because of the atomite earth that dried it. And it has an absence of the sternum. And also, I was surprised that ribs join towards the front, like in a circle. From
Vamos a ir desplazándonos nosotros, vamos a ir desplazándonos a al otro ambiente donde estamos con los cuerpos, porque vamos a tener un acercamiento de ellos. Una cosa, como hemos dicho, los científicos pueden opinar desde su casa, desde el móvil, sentados en cualquier lugar, y hacer comunicados y decir que esto es falso. Sin embargo, ninguno ha tenido el valor, y se los digo aquí, desde Lima, no han tenido el valor como estos profesionales para poder acercarse a esta investigación y despejar sus dudas, porque ustedes pueden traer todas las dudas y cuestionamientos que quieran. La única manera de despejarlos es viniendo a hacer ciencia, viniendo a hacer investigación, a tomar muestras, como lo están haciendo México, rusos, franceses, japoneses, así que dejen. Acá tenemos los cuerpos, aquí está Santiago, aquí está Sebastián, y acá tenemos la opinión del doctor Anicama una vez más, por favor, por ejemplo, esta cabeza acá hemos visto que parecería humana, pero también usted nota alguna otra característica.
La tomografía, ya con los cuerpos acá presentes, vemos que son cráneos un poco más alargados que lo que normalmente se ven en la tomografía. Probablemente son más grandes de la bóveda craneana con respecto. Hemos visto que es un niño aproximadamente de 5 años, según la dentición mixta que hemos encontrado, y que al cráneo facial de este espécimen. En el mayor...
Vamos a desplazar un poquito la camilla para que podamos acceder hacia allá para ver.
No, me gustaría, colega Ricardo, que vieras este segmento, que no, ahorita me he puesto los lentes, pero yo los he visto con lupa. Acá se ven las huellas digitales transversales, igual que en la momia amarilla. Las huellas digitales no se ve como de los humanos, pero en la foto se pueden ver nítidamente, ¿no? Son huellas digitales transversales, paralelas y transversales longitudinal del dedo. Es una cosa única.
Creo que es más es la longitud de los dedos, ¿no? Que definitivamente sí es diferente, pues, a lo que los humanos pueden presentar, ¿no? Son dedos muy alargados, tanto de los miembros inferiores.
Se podría decir, doctor, que este cuerpo, estos pies son muy extraños, no solamente porque son de 3 dedos, sino porque la mitad casi es planta y la otra mitad es dedo, ¿no? Prácticamente 50.
Sí, esa proporción es diferente.
No es
No, exactamente. Y con lo que a mí respecta, en la parte de cabeza y cuello, vemos pues la oblicuidad de los ojos, que es sumamente diferente, ¿no? Más o menos 45 grados de implantación en relación a la implantación del canto externo con el canto interno, sumamente oblicuo. Y unas fosas nasales muy pequeñas, un poco anchas incluso, parecidas a los primates, sí, podría decir. Exacto.
Si hemos encontrado ADN de 2 simios incorporados en el ADN de María, ¿por qué no podría tener una proporción similar, no, doctor?
Seguramente cuando se le haga el curso
Técnico, profesional, y la verdad que estamos muy satisfechos desde aquí de poder haber aportado esto. Invitamos a los científicos del mundo, a los catedráticos, a los profesionales de distintas universidades, a que se interesen un poco más en conocer esto. No le hagan caso, lamentablemente, a mis colegas de la prensa que están siguiendo el guión del Ministerio de Cultura. No sé qué muñecos van a inventar ahora los del Ministerio de Cultura para tratar de compararlos con estos seres extraordinarios. Este es un hallazgo único en la historia y nos evidencia que hemos tenido convivencia con otras especies que no corresponden a la evolución humana, otras especies que nos van a hacer cambiar de paradigma y por favor, simplemente busquen la información y la van a encontrar. Muchas gracias desde aquí. No sé si tienen alguna consulta. Regresamos la transmisión a la ciudad de Los Ángeles, en California. Estuvo con ustedes Joyce Mantilla desde Lima, Perú.
Ok, muchas gracias. Creo que vamos a las conclusiones para dar paso a las preguntas y respuestas. Muchas gracias, Joyce Mantilla. Muchas gracias a todos los que participaron desde ICA, desde Lima. Son un gran número de personas que han estado involucradas en este extraordinario descubrimiento. Más de 50 científicos han tenido acceso a los cuerpos. Ninguno que los ha investigado, not one that has investigated these bodies, has thought that these bodies are not real. Not one. 50 scientists so far. And I believe it's enough proof that this is a real finding, and this finding has to be known by the world. Okay? You want to do your conclusions, please?
Actually, Adam, did you want to come up first and then we'll conclude things? So, second last person speaking today is Adam Curry. Adam Curry is very well known in the scientific community and a real pioneer when it comes to researching and investigating new technologies. So, over to you, Adam.
Good afternoon. I'll keep it brief, but I wanted to start with a few quotes. And these are quotes about breakthrough scientific discoveries from authorities in the past. Quote, Louis Pasteur's theory of germs is ridiculous fiction, said Pierre Paget, physiology professor in 1872. The abdomen, the chest, and the brain will be forever shut from the intrusion of the wise and humane surgeon, said Sir John Ericsson, the chief British surgeon, 1873. Heavier than air flying machines are impossible, said Lord Kelvin, who was the president of the Royal Society in 1895, just a few short years before the Wright brothers actually took flight. Computers in the future may weigh no more than 1.5 tons, said Popular Mechanics in 1949. I could keep going, but the point is that when it comes to breakthrough scientific discoveries, sometimes the officials get it right,
los oficiales
but
lo hacen
sometimes the
bien
officials get
y
it very
muchas
wrong.
veces los funcionarios
I had the opportunity
no
to
lo hacen
participate
bien.
in
Entonces
some of
tuve
the
la
activities in
posibilidad de
Mexico and
participar en
Peru
las
as an
actividades en
independent
Perú y en
observer.
México como un
And
observador
when I
independiente.
became
Y cuando
satisfied
yo me
of the
volví, me satisfice
seriousness and
de la
scientific
seriedad
credentials of
de
the
las
investigators
cuestiones
involved,
científicas de los
and that these
investigadores
specimens were
y que
indeed
los
authentic
especímenes eran
anomalies,
auténticos y eran
I realized that
anomalías
we might be
auténticas,
dealing
me
with
di
something
cuenta
similar.
que era posible que estamos
This
tratando
is a
con algo
breakthrough
similar.
scientific discovery
Este
in
es
its
un
early stage
descubrimiento
that is
científico
meeting
de
some
un gran
resistance.
avance científico en sus primeras
I
etapas.
offered to contact some of my colleagues at universities and
Y
institutes in the
hay
United States,
contactos de los
asking them if they'd be
colegas
interested in performing third-party
eh,
forensic analysis on the specimens, and I found that while all of them had heard
y
about this
ahora
study, and indeed many were quite excited about it, they were dissuaded from continuing
nosotros
due to
vimos
essentially false reporting.
y supusimos
So what we have is a communication problem. Incidentally, all of them are
que,
quite interested in providing some third-party analysis. And now that they
que se
realize
hizo un análisis de
there's more
terceros
to the story, and after hearing a little bit about some of the preliminary forensic results on the new specimens that you heard about this morning, I want to also make a call to any other
y
qualified laboratory or university in the United States or elsewhere who is interested for the
I'd
benefit
like
of
to
science
apologize. Me quiero
in
disculpar,
providing
pero no se
third-party
escucha
analysis,
absolutamente nada de lo que el hombre
particularly in
está
the use of
diciendo.
DNA that can corroborate some of these preliminary findings. The teams in Peru
Podemos
and
corroborar los
Mexico have
hallazgos
been
del
forthcoming
equipo
from the beginning, that they are transparent about sharing and collaborating
en
and are ready
cuanto a que
to
son transparentes
more
en
sharing and more
compartir
collaborating
su
after this moment.
información y que colaboran.
One more quote.
Y una cita más.
Gandhi said that first they ignore
Se
you,
dijo que
then they ridicule you, then they fight you, and then you win.
primero increíble, después era
Unfortunately,
ridículo.
often as true for scientific discoveries as it is in the pursuit of peace.
Y muchas veces los descubrimientos
But my
científicos
cellist hope
no son aceptados en
for
un
the discoveries
inicio.
in Peru and for the teams involved is that we don't have to repeat that cycle. That human curiosity
No debemos de
is there,
repetir el ciclo.
that
La
professional search and
La
basic
curiosidad
curiosity
humana es
not
muy
finding one another,
importante.
but instead exploring what is perhaps one of the most interesting and socially significant discoveries of recent times.
Vamos a explorar y a lo mejor vamos a encontrar los descubrimientos más interesantes.
Thank you guys all so much for your attention and your patience.
Muchísimas gracias.
Time to come here and listen to this information. When we actually set out to make this film, we were going to make a film about the alien mummies. We could not wait to go to Mexico to see these bodies.
Nosotros no podíamos esperar para ir a México y ver estos cuerpos.
But when we were confronted with these bodies, and I say confronted because when you
Y
see
después
something
nos
that you've
confrontamos
never
con
seen before,
cuerpos
it can be quite shocking. When we saw these bodies,
y nos
initially
confrontamos
it
con
was
cuerpos
just
que nos choquearon.
to be able to be so close to something that pretty much nobody on Earth has ever seen before, and to be able to go close up to them and scrutinize their nostrils and their
Después nos
eyes, their
acercamos, los estudiamos con gran escrutinio, sus músculos.
every second that we spent with these beings, we started to feel
Cada
something very
segundo
strange,
que nos
something that we
acercamos
did
a
not
ellos y
anticipate being
estudiamos,
at
los
all. And that was
estudiamos,
emotion. We started to feel as though there was a story to be told here. That these living
nos
beings
dimos
were
cuenta
once
que era
alive and had
una
passed
historia que
on.
se tenía que
And
contar.
during their brief time on this planet, they had lived, they had breathed,
Estos
they had
seres
moved, they had formed
vivieron,
relationships
respiraron
with
y
each
se
other.
movieron
We
en
realized
este
that
mundo.
reporters, politicians, naysayers around the world were trying to say
Los
that these
científicos y
weren't
los
real.
políticos y todos en el mundo
But here they
están
were.
tratando de entender si fue o
Now
no fue
imagine that was
real.
you. Imagine if somebody tried to deny your existence. You know, many of the conversations we've had, we've actually likened to people that have suffered abuse before. Imagine having suffered abuse and going to tell people about it and being told that, no, you weren't abused. That's not real. That's the energy that we've been feeling with these beings. They are no longer with us. They have passed away, but somebody has to have a voice for them. And that's all we're trying to do right now. So we're here to say that this is not a hoax. This is real. We don't know what they are. We don't know where they're from. We don't know who or what created them, but they are real. There are so many of them now. It's undeniable. And one of the greatest things for us, the greatest gift, I guess, that we got to receive when we went to Peru was that we got to meet these doctors and these scientists that are so passionate about proving the authenticity of these characters. These people don't need fame. They don't need fortune. They don't need to lose their jobs and their careers. Jaime is an iconic legend whose name has been completely defamed in the media. But we're here to tell you that everything that you've heard about these beings so far in the media is not true. So all that we ask is that you keep an open mind. That instead of listening to gossip and hearsay, you listen to the science. You listen to your scientists and you listen to your doctors. And if anybody here has any contacts in the scientific world here in America, we implore you to share this live stream with them and to ask them to come forward. Jaime and his team are able to give actual specimens of these beings to anybody in the scientific community that is bold enough to go against what society has been saying and actually do the work and do the research to figure out what these bodies are and where they came from. But I want to thank all of you once again for being here today and having that open mind and having that excitement about the fact that we've discovered something. We don't know what it is, but it's really freaking cool. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank Michael Mazzola and Serena. Thanks to them. This really happened. Without them, probably this could have not happened. I want to tell you now what is next. We're going to have a press conference in Peru, the 4th of April. Very reputable scientists from America, very reputable, I mean, top scientists from America are going to be there, are going to study the bodies from one-to-one, face-to-face, and they probably, I hope, will give their results in this live stream if you want to follow the 4th of April, because this is not going to finish here. We will continue fighting and presenting this to the world. I hope the media, you are welcome to come to Lima the 4th of April at the Sheraton Hotel, 10 a.m. in the morning. Probably you will be able to witness if the Peruvian governments allow us to have the bodies there. If they don't confiscate them, we will present them to anyone who wants to see them, especially the media, from the US, from around the world. This is huge, this is big. As a journalist, I tell you, this is the biggest story that I have found in 50 years. 50 years. I am an honest, investigative journalist. I became head of 60 Minutes, anchor of 60 Minutes in Mexico. I work very close to Mike Wallace and the people there, okay? I have a program for the last 25 years in the Mexican TV. It's 25 years old, this program. I also have a newscast from Monday to Friday. I am a journalist. I want to tell you this. I am not an ufologist. I am not an enthusiastic of UFOs. Stop saying that about me. I am a journalist, pure journalist. I've been recognized in the Capitol Hill. I've been recognized in the UN. I have won 3 times the National Award on Journalism of Mexico. And I have been recognized by the journalists in Spain, by the UN, as I said, and many others, because I am a journalist. But when they want to reduce this finding, they say, oh, it's a UFO enthusiast. The controversial Jaime Maussan. Why am I controversial? Because I say the truth? Is the truth controversial? Then I am controversial. Otherwise, I am honest, I am ethical, I have never been corrupt. I can be wrong, I accept that, but I never lie. And that's very important for me to say it, because I am tired of being called of all that adjectives. It's not fair for a journalist. And I want to thank you. Thank you. I want to thank you for coming here. I hope all the people, all the media that didn't come, but follow this through the internet, realize how much you lost not being here. Because this is important. It's not about us. It's about the people. It's about the reality and the future and the past. Just consider for a second that this is real. Just consider for a second these are realities. Everything would change. And that's what the anthropologists and archaeologists of Peru doesn't want that to happen. And it's time to know the truth. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed here. I hope you felt that you are now part of history, and I hope you will continue reporting this because it's very important. Thank you. I think that, you want to say something?
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, can you hear me? Thank you very much, everyone, for coming out. It means a great deal to all of us. My name is Dan Harari. I had the honor to do the public relations and help Michael and Serena with today's event. And that was pretty remarkable. Thank you for going out on a limb with us, because this is real. This stuff is real. Before we do Q&A, is Dr. Peter Hauser here? Is that you from UCLA? We'd love to talk to you after. Well, can you? We're going to do Q&A. Not doing Q&As? Okay. Okay. I'd love a group photo in front of the signage for the press. We'll get Jaime over there. And then everyone's available for one-on-one interviews. I'm here. I will help you as best I can. Can we move the chairs? We'll move the chairs out here. We'll do some interviews in front of the signage, which I think is the way to go. And again, thank you very, very much for coming, and I'm here to help you.
One last thing, guys. Our colleague, Martin Acarica, has published a book in Spanish about these beings, and we're going to play a quick promo for that. Thank you so much for being here.
Al abrir el expediente, se encontrarán con una historia de dolores, contratiempos, abusos y difamaciones, pero también de éxito, de satisfacciones extraordinarias por la ya comprobación científica lograda en los análisis de los cuerpos no humanos. Albert Camus, Premio Nobel de Literatura, decía que el papel del escritor no puede ponerse al servicio de quienes manipulan la historia, sino de la verdad. Yo no puedo acomodarme a la mentira ni al servicio del desconocimiento. Tampoco soy partidario del engaño ni de la manipulación, donde los negacionistas, los detractores, en su ignorancia y desesperación, hacen de la desacreditación su deporte, pues son soldados de la anticiencia, queriendo fortalecer el imperio de la ignorancia. En la lucha vulnerable pero tenaz, nace Expediente Abierto, impetuoso por la verdad, muestra las interrogantes científicas más apasionantes de la historia acerca de nuestro origen y cuyas respuestas son más insólitas de lo esperado. Contiene evidencias de un hallazgo sin precedentes estudiado ya por especialistas, científicos e investigadores de todo el planeta. Se trata de una especie que aún no hemos descubierto viva. ¿Es quizá la prueba de vida en otros planetas? Expediente Abierto cuestiona nuestro pasado y quizá nuestro futuro como raza humana. Te maravillarás con la inmensa posibilidad de que en efecto somos polvo de estrellas.